There's only one left.
What? But I wanted it! Let's share it!
No way, it's mine! Finders keepers, Doraemon!
The final sweet bean pancake with the reverence of a pilgrim approaching a sacred relic. One dorayaki. One perfect, beautiful, delicious... I saw it first! Nobita lunged across the table with the speed of someone who had spent his entire life being slow at everything except grabbing food.
Don't claim ownership! They do in this house! What followed was a struggle of epic proportions, a battle between a robot cat and a human noodle.
Both desperately grasping for the same pastry, the dorayaki flew from hand to paw, bouncing off the ceiling, rolling across the floor, and somehow ending up lodged in a vase that had definitely seen better days. In the chaos, two gadgets tumbled from Doraemon's pocket and clattered to the floor.
The small light and the big light, lying side by side like estranged siblings at an awkward family reunion. Look what you did!
What I did! Your pocket started it! They both dove for the gadgets at the same time, bumping heads with a sound effect that would
have been comedic if it hadn't hurt so much. Stars circled around both of them in classic cartoon fashion.
Ow!
They said simultaneously. When the stars cleared, Nobita found himself holding the small light while Doraemon clutched the big light. They stared at each other across a divide that suddenly
felt much larger than the physical space between them. These are basically the same gadget, just opposite. They're not the same. The small light shrinks.
Things. The big light enlarges things. Completely different functionalities.
That's like saying hot and cold are completely different. They're both temperature.
That's exactly right! Hot and cold are completely different!
You're missing my point!
Your point is wrong! What had started as a fight over a dorayaki had somehow evolved
into a philosophical dispute about the nature of size manipulation. Neither of them could explain how it happened, but both were now fully committed to
the small light is obviously more useful. You can shrink anything, make it portable, carry giant things.
The big light is infinitely more powerful. You can make tiny things huge, create advantages from nothing, turn an ant...
Oh, really? That's amazing!
Exactly! Now watch this!
into an anti-Zilla! That's terrifying, not useful!
Terror is a form of usefulness!
The argument might have continued indefinitely. They had set records for arguing about nothing before. But fate, as it often did in this neighborhood, chose that moment to intervene in the most dramatic way possible. The sky outside turned
Look at the sky!
purple. Not gradually, not subtly, but instantly, as if someone had changed the channel on reality itself. Purple lightning cracked across the heavens, and a thunderous...
The great debate has been heard. The cosmos demands a resolution. The trial of magnitudes
shall begin.
Did you hear that? The universe just spoke to us. That
Can't be good. Before either could react, beams of light shot through the window. One from the small light, one from the big light, and wrapped around them like cosmic chains. The world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations, spinning and stretching and compressing until neither could tell which way was up. When reality reformed, they found themselves standing on what appeared to be an enormous checkerboard floating in the middle of an infinite void. Stars wheeled around them in patterns that suggested the universe was very interested in this particular moment. "Welcome," the cosmic voice boomed, "to the arena of size. Here, your debate shall be settled through trials. The small light versus the big light. Which is more powerful? The cosmos itself will judge."
Can we maybe just apologize and go home?
The cosmic scales cannot be unbalanced once tilted. The trial begins now.
The checkerboard beneath them shifted, and suddenly they were no longer alone. Rising from the void came two colossal figures, entities made of pure energy, one radiating the essence of small and one radiating the essence of big. The small entity was, paradoxically, enormous. a giant made entirely of miniaturized things, its body composed of shrunken cars and tiny buildings and compressed mountains, all swirling together in a form that seemed to contain infinite density and finite space.
Wow, Doraemon, it's amazing!
The big entity was the opposite, made of things that had been enlarged beyond comprehension, atoms blown up to planetary size, bacteria transformed into cosmic creatures, and a being that seemed too large to exist in any reasonable universe. "I am Minimus," the small entity announced, its voice somehow both whispering and
Champion of reduction, advocate of compression, I argue for the small light.
And I am Maximus.
that rattled Nobita's teeth.
Champion of expansion, advocate of growth, I argue for the big light.
We've been waiting eons for this debate to occur.
Since the first atom split, the universe has wondered, is small mightier than big? Is compression superior to expansion? Today, we finally settle it.
Maximus added, "Through you, tiny mortals, the answer shall be revealed."
Nobita raised his hand weakly. What if we just say they're both equally?
Powerful and go home? That is not an acceptable answer.
I thought not. What exactly do these trials involve?
Minimus smiled, or made an expression that might have been a smile on a being made of shrunken matter.
3 trials,
Each testing the practical applications
Of size manipulation, each requiring you to solve problems using your respective light. Nobita shall wield the small light. Doraemon shall wield the
big light. You will compete directly, proving which gadget is superior through action rather than argument.
But the small light is Doraemon's gadget. I barely know how to use it.
Irrelevant. You chose your side. Now prove it. The first trial materialized around them, the void transforming into
a bizarre obstacle course that defied physics and common sense. There were walls that seemed infinitely tall, chasms that seemed infinitely deep, and in the
center of it all, a small golden trophy hovering in a crystal cage. The trial of obstacles. Whoever reaches the trophy first wins.
use your light however you wish. Begin.
Nobita stared at the impossible course ahead of him, then at the small light in his
hand. This was fine. This was completely fine. He was about to compete in a cosmic trial against his best friend, using technology he barely
understood, with the fate of a philosophical argument hanging in the balance. Completely. Fine. Go! A cosmic gong sounded. Doraemon immediately pointed the big light at the ground beneath his feet and activated it. The checkerboard square expanded rapidly, rising upward like an elevator, carrying him toward the trophy with...
That's cheating! It's creative problem solving!
And the wall shrank, from infinity tall to merely impossibly tall, then to just very tall, then to chest height, which he could climb over.
I can shrink the obstacles.
He scrambled over the diminished wall, only to face a chasm that stretched before him like the universe's biggest guilt.
Trip. How was he supposed to shrink a gap? Then inspiration struck. He pointed the small light at himself. In an instant, Nobita shrank to
approximately 3 inches tall. The chasm that had seemed infinite was now merely concerning. The surface tension of a small puddle nearby would be enough to support his weight if he was careful.
I'm tiny but mighty.
He squeaked in his now tiny voice. Unfortunately, being tiny came with tiny problems. A passing cosmic ant, because apparently those existed here, saw him and approached with what could only be described as predatory interest.
Nice ant. Good. Ant, please don't eat me.
The ant was not impressed by diplomacy. What followed was a chase sequence that would have been hilarious if Nobita
Doraemon, help!
wasn't genuinely terrified for his life. He ran across the checkerboard with tiny legs pumping furiously, the ant close behind, its mandibles clicking with hunger.
Doraemon, help!
Doraemon, meanwhile, had encountered his own problems. His rising platform had reached the ceiling of the arena, which apparently existed, and he was now trapped between an immovable surface above and a very movable platform below that was still growing.
Why won't it stop?
The big light didn't have a simple